boyfriend has been cheating on me for 2 years, and this is how I found out. For all the girls that pride themselves like I did on not going through their boyfriend's phones, this is for you. I've been with my boyfriend for 8 years, and for those 8 years, I've never gone through his phone, and it's something that I've been, very adamant about. However, if I had gone through his phone, I wouldn't have lost 2 years of my life. Actually 8, because it's the whole relationship, but 2, because I found out that he's been cheating on me for 2 years. It really is that damn phone, because I found this out in the weirdest way. So my boyfriend bought a new phone, and he lost all of his contacts. So he asked me to text him so that he could save my phone number, so I did. So we're driving to my house, and I text him, "Hey sexy, what's up?" He responds. I thought that this was weird, but like sometimes he's into weird shit. He actually texts and drives, but he texts saying, "Hey, can't talk right now." And I thought, okay, like he's just kidding. "Hey, can't talk right now, I'll text you in 5. That's what he says, and I interpret it as a joke. Because how can it not be a joke? As soon as we get home, he immediately runs to the bathroom, and my phone lights up. He's texting me, saying, "So, hey, what's up?" So I reply, not much. You? He says, "Super horny. Want to meet up tonight?" And I replied to him again. At this point, like, we've been together for 8 years, so I was like, there's no way this guy is actually cheating on me. And it never crossed my mind. Like I said, I trusted this guy. So I just thought, he was being funny. And I was like, why later? Why not right now? I'm horny too. And he responds, "Okay, we'll try to make it ASAP. Cool?" Okay, cool. Then he comes out of the bathroom moments later, and I'm like prepared to be like, what is up with this? Like, are you for real? Do you want to like go to bed or something? Before I have time to say whatever, he immediately goes, "Hey, so I'm not feeling too good. I think I'm gonna head home." And this is where my jaw drops. He goes, "Oh, and by the way, can you actually text me so I can save your phone number? You haven't texted me yet." Who are you texting in the bathroom? I turned to him and I'm like, you're kidding, right? You have to be kidding me. Like, you cannot be for real. Like, who were you texting in the bathroom then if it wasn't me? He just says, "Oh, shit." He came clean about everything. I didn't really have to try that hard. He just told me he's been with someone else for 2 years. I don't know which one of you I like more. That's why I never said anything. She doesn't know either. I'm like, what the fuck? He looked and sounded like a robot, and I couldn't really believe it. And he still says, like, I don't know which one of you I like more. Oh, but yeah, go through your boyfriend's phones. Go through your boyfriend's phones. I'm telling you right now, go. This is your sign. Because I was stupid. I didn't, and I regret it, because like I said, this would have saved me years of my life. So, yeah. I found out my boyfriend of 8 years has been cheating on me with his ex for 4 years. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 8 years, and we met in high school. We just recently moved in together. He worked a lot of extra shifts, and he doesn't make that much money, so it's like he had never allowed me to check his phone. But there was this one day where a friend of mine said that she'd seen my boyfriend with his high school girlfriend before me. Because yes, we did meet in high school, but he left another girl in high school, like high school drama. He left another girl in high school for me. And my friend, who also went to high school with us, told me that she saw them both at a mall. I am fuming, obviously. So he comes home. I immediately tell him, "You either give me your phone right now or I'll break up with you." He didn't even give me his phone. He just broke down and confessed everything. He said that he was in love with the both of us. I asked him, how long has this been going on for? Has this been going on like since high school? He's like, no, this has only been going on for about a month. I won't give up on this. I'm like, you either give me your phone right now or I'll break up with you. I need to see this. I found out that he was lying to me. This was going on for 4 years. It was heartbreaking. The type of text messages that I saw, they were giving each other declarations of love, calling each other wife and husband. Oh, and by the way, she did know we were together. So afterwards, I tell him, you have to pick either me or her. He said, well, I pick you. So I'm like, okay, now you're gonna break up with her in front of me. So you're gonna call her right now. You're gonna say that it's all over and that you're gonna stay with me. That's what he does. He calls her and I'm listening to the whole conversation, starts crying, and I told him, you have to block her number in front of me. We decided that we are gonna go to couples therapy. He started sharing his location with me. The next day rolls around and I still have this sick feeling, and I asked him to show me his phone again, and he refuses. Now he finally gives it to me, and I see that he had been messaging her all day on Facebook. He says that he just needed closure and that he needed to talk to her, and I'm like, okay, you can now have a private 45-minute call. That will be all the closure that you need. And then the following week, we have our first couples therapy session, and right before that, I check his email. I just don't trust him, and I've been checking his phone regularly, but I've been forgetting to check his email. Can you believe that he had a hidden folder in his email? This time I couldn't control my anger, so I immediately drove off to his mom's house, and I tell her everything. She saw me grow up, and we have this close relationship. He was obviously standing by my side. Then I get home and he just starts screaming at me. Why did you tell my mom about this? Like, this is our business. This is not my mom's business. This was the first time he actually got mad at me. And we have this explosive fight and everything. But in the end, we decide, okay, let's make this work. This was about 3 weeks ago. I just gave up on constantly checking his phone and everything because that is just so exhausting mentally. I can't control him, so he's gonna do whatever he wants to do. I know what everybody's thinking. I feel weak. Obviously, I feel weak because of all of this, but if I leave this relationship, I have to know that I gave it my all, because this is a person that I've been dating for 8 years, and I'm not just gonna, like, put this all to waste. I found out I was getting cheated on, so this was my revenge. After I got cheated on, there was only one thing on my mind, and that was revenge. My boyfriend and I have lived together for 2 years. I have never gone through his phone. Honestly, not because I don't want to go through his phone, but because he has never let me. Like, he's obsessed with it. Like, he's paranoid about the idea of me going through his phone. And he says he's traumatized because his ex would always go through his phone, and she was crazy. Whenever a guy says that his ex is crazy, I always take it with a grain of salt, because it's like, what did you do to make her crazy? He would always change his passcode, like, always, because he was afraid that I was gonna see his passcode, so he would change it like every 2 business days. And he'd also always sleep with his phone under his pillow. I had some suspicions because he had a lot of like extra shifts. This was happening with more frequency because this was all of a sudden. I wasn't about to waste more time with someone who was cheating on me. Like I said, I don't want to waste my life. Like, I don't want to waste my youth. See that he forgot to put his phone under his pillow. So like I said, I did not have his passcode. He was always changing. Also, he didn't have like the 4-digit password. He had like the 6 one. So what I did was like, okay, I have some pictures of him. So I decided I was going to try to do the Face ID with one of his pictures. And it worked. I unlocked it. I jumped. It was the first time I was checking his phone in 2 years. So he was exchanging messages with someone named Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut was calling him baby. I didn't know Pizza Hut had that good of a customer service. I realized my biggest fear is happening and I'm getting cheated on. They would talk about work a lot. So these extra shifts were actually spent with a coworker. All I see is red. I'm going to get revenge. My schedules are really flexible, my job, so I decide that I'm going to spend a week following this guy to work, and I would wait as long as I have to wait, because I am gathering all the evidence that I can. Life's mission is to embarrass him and to find out everything. So that is what I do. I follow him for about a week to work, even when he doesn't work extra shifts, and I see him walking in and walking out. There's this particular woman that he always gets out of his office with, and I follow them. I'm taking pictures, I'm taking videos, I'm following them. But I'm gonna do another part telling you what I did with all of this evidence and how I embarrassed this guy so hard. I found out I was getting cheated on, so this was my revenge. For about a week, I'm following this guy every day to work, and I wait 8 hours in the car. Yes, I do, because I just want revenge. He wasted my life, and like I said, I've been cheated on before, and like, there's nothing worse. Everybody gets cheated on, every guy cheats, and I'm like kind of losing hope. I'm taking pictures of them both every day walking out of the office, and they're hugging and they're kissing, and they would always get out in lunch break and they would go to this restaurant. And like I said, I was taking videos, I was taking pictures of him cuddling with this woman. He had gotten a promotion 2 weeks prior to all of this, so I decided it would be the perfect excuse for me to say, okay, so this would be really nice if you invited some of your coworkers. Like, you should invite them over to our house. We have a beautiful house. We should throw a party. He's super excited because he loves parties and he knows this would be good for his reputation and his
job, so I want Pizza Hut to come, obviously, because I want to embarrass them both in front of all of their colleagues. I already know what Pizza Hut looked like, so the night of the party, I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that she actually shows up, and she does. I'm the one who's greeting everybody at the door, but she rings the doorbell, and she's there with a man. Did I just hit the jackpot? Did this girl come with her boyfriend? Is she in a relationship? Now all the guests are in the living room. Everybody's there, including their boss. Everybody's drinking. I'm super excited. And there it is, Pizza Hut with her boyfriend. And I turn on the TV. I was gathering evidence that entire week. Pictures, videos of them cuddling after work, all of it, kissing in the car, all of these things. So I basically added a 3-minute long video with everything. And I turn on the TV and I press play. I put the volume in the max, and then everybody's looking at the TV. She was crying and also yelling, telling me to stop. But I was in front of the TV, I was in front of the button of the TV, so he couldn't reach it. And if he tried to like grab me and stuff, and nobody would, because like his reputation would even become worse if he did. Everybody was glued to that TV, because how could they not? It's like perfect work gossip. I had been packing all my bags so that after that party, I would leave that house immediately. She probably got her relationship broken apart too. So actually, I'm traumatized and I can't eat Pizza Hut. I can't look at it anymore. I cheated on my boyfriend with my college professor, and this is how he found out. Please do not hate me for this. I mean, if you saw my college professor, you wouldn't judge me as hard. I met my boyfriend in college about 2 years ago. This year, I have this class, and there was this professor, and like every girl had a crush on this professor. I thought I was delusional at one point, because I could swear that when I was in class, like he would look at me differently. Like when he was teaching, he would look at me differently. But then my friends started noticing that too, and they told me, I think Professor Calloway is actually obsessed with you, because he won't stop looking at you every time we're in class. And I was like, right? My boyfriend didn't know any of this. I mean, my boyfriend is like, he just wants to play video games all day, and I felt like I just needed a man. Like, he just was this kid who barely cared about school and who only wanted to play video games like all day, and I was like, this is not my future. This professor, like, he would start looking at me a lot. Then he would hand me over the essays, and he would always like touch my hand, and I just like, okay. Every girl would have folded. He's not that old either. He's probably 30 something. Whenever I'd bring up the conversations with my boyfriend to break up, like he would always try to make me feel guilty about the fact that I wanted to break up, and I'm going to unalive myself if we ever break up. Sometimes people say, well, you should just break up with him, but I felt bad. There's this one time where on my essay, he hands it back to me, saying, can I come by my office tonight? Have to talk to you about your essays and about your grades. And I was like, is this what I think it is? One time where I went by his office and he kissed me, and I couldn't hold myself back. I wasn't happy in my relationship. Like, I was constantly saying, this isn't gonna work, I'm not having this relationship, blah blah blah, and he just wouldn't let me. It started being a regular thing. 3 times a week I would always come by his office and we would make out. The problem was that this professor was starting to get very possessive over me. He started pressuring me into breaking up with my boyfriend, like hardcore. He wanted me to break up with my boyfriend, but he didn't want to like commit to me or anything. He was like, I can't say anything because I'm your professor, and like this wouldn't be good for my reputation in school. And I told him, no, unless you commit to me, unless you do anything, I'm not going to break up with my boyfriend because of you. And yeah, things didn't work out that great because he actually told my boyfriend. I'm gonna tell you what happened afterwards in the next part, so yeah, it wasn't pretty. I cheated on my boyfriend with my college professor, and this is how he found out. So yeah, basically, my professor is in love with me. He wants me to break up with my boyfriend, and I'm like, firstly, I don't think I can do that to my boyfriend because he is mentally unstable. And honestly, it gets to a point where it's too annoying, and I break up. I say, go to him, and I'm like, this is over. We're over. I can't do this anymore. I'm not breaking up with my boyfriend. You're not going to commit to me, so bye. And I thought, well, okay, I'm done. Like, this nightmare is over. But no, he got really pissed. He thought that he could get me back by telling my boyfriend. He already knew what he was gonna do. He was like, I'm gonna tell her boyfriend so they break up and she gets back to me. So my boyfriend knocks at my dorm room. He's like, I know everything your little boyfriend told me. He's yelling, saying, so how long has this been going on for? And obviously I'm in shock. I'm like, he cannot possibly know everything. I'm like, what do you mean? How long has it been going on? What are you talking about? Are you drunk? He's like, to my surprise, Professor Calloway told me that he wanted to see me after class, and I did, and what he had to say surprised me a lot. So basically, the professor told him, you should really break up with your girlfriend because she's a slut. She's been visiting me after class, and she's been doing stuff that you wouldn't want to know. So he asked me to see my phone because he's like, I don't believe him. This cannot be true, so please give me your phone because I need to see if you're texting him. And I refuse because there's so many texts between me and him, but he snatches it out of my hands. You can imagine what happened afterwards. I mean, I feel really guilty. I feel really bad about everything that happened. Ultimately, it was the best thing for him because we were not a match, and like, I was always worried about his mental health. I really liked him as a friend. But, yeah, I know he's doing well. That's all I care about, honestly. He has a new girlfriend and everything, and this is funny because this only happened a week ago, and he already has a new girlfriend, whilst he was talking about, if you break up with me, I'm going to unalive myself, blah, 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 and it's like, you moved on pretty fast. As for the professor, I did go and see him. I asked to go see him. I sent him a text saying that I wanted to meet him, and I pretended that I was gonna meet him because I wanted to get back together with him. He called me a slut. Like, what do you mean? If I'm a slut, you're a slut. I go into his office and he immediately tries to kiss me, and I'm like, no. Unless you give me, like, the greatest grades, I'm going to tell everybody, and you're never going to touch me again because...
My boyfriend tried to cheat on me, so this is what I did. So my boyfriend would always sleep with his phone in his pocket. I obviously always thought it was a red flag, but I just didn't think anything of it. I just trusted him. But one night, it probably slipped out of his sweats and it landed in my legs. And I honestly thought about putting it on the charger, but I saw a bunch of notifications from a dating app. I was obviously furious. I mean, I couldn't really believe what I was seeing. I then went in the app and I saw that he had been texting a lot of girls and that he had been meeting up with a lot of girls. Instead of waking him up and slap him, I thought I had to do something better. I had to come up with a good enough revenge because this is way too bad. What can I possibly do that is going to absolutely destroy this guy? And then I thought, well, let's use what he loves so much, the dating apps, to get a nice revenge. I decided I was going to create a fake profile and see if he was going to match. So I asked one of my friends who would definitely be his type that he hadn't met, and I asked to use one of her pictures or some of her pictures to create a fake dating profile. The only thing that keeps me acting like everything is okay is the fact that I know I'm going to get my revenge because I'm literally putting on the performance of my life whilst we're together. So we match. My fake profile and him, we match. We start flirting and everything, and I suggest to get the revenge going, we have to meet up. So I almost immediately say, oh my gosh, we have to be together, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't expecting this, but he actually offered to pay for a hotel. The fact that this guy had the nerve to do this, meanwhile, I have been providing for him for about a year now because he's been unemployed for about a year. So basically giving him a monthly allowance. Now he's gonna spend the money that I give him on another girl. And I think, is this what he has been doing with the money? So now it's time for him to go away for the weekend. And he says, well, I have to go visit my mom. His mom asked him to go meet her and that he wanted $50 to buy his mom a gift. He's very close to his mom, and he had been using that excuse, now I know that it was an excuse, to go visit his mom for the weekends a lot of times. I really want to get this revenge going, so I give him the $50, and he goes to his mom for the weekend, but he doesn't go to his mom's. My boyfriend tried to cheat on me, so this is what I did. So there he goes. I give him the $50 and he leaves, and I am already preparing everything at home to get my revenge going. So I'm packing every single thing that he has in my house because it is my house, because obviously he's not going to come back. I asked my friend to even send me some sexy pictures so that I could send him whilst he was on his way there. I'm getting ready, I'm so excited for the date, blah blah blah, so that he could really get his hopes up. I had said that we were going to meet at the hotel at about 8 p.m. I make him wait. I make him suffer. I keep on giving the excuse of, oh, I'm so late, I just want to be ready for you, I want to look so good for you. And like I said, I'm like sending him pictures along the way. So I keep doing this until it's about 1 a.m. So he's basically waiting at the hotel from 8 p.m. till 1 a.m. I make him suffer. And at 1 a.m., with the fake dating profile, I send him a picture of all of his belongings, all the stuff that I had been packing for all of those hours, on our porch. Enjoy your night alone at that hotel room. I block him everywhere. And I go to sleep. Now, I knew he was going to obviously get at my door the next day, so it was no surprise that he actually did. I didn't open the door. I basically talked to him through the window, and I was like, I have nothing to talk to. Everything is said and done, and he's trying to explain himself. He's trying to manipulate the situation. He's crying and everything, saying that he won't be able to live without me, blah blah blah, narcissistic, manipulative things, but I obviously don't care. I just called the police because that is not his house, and he's basically harassing me. So yeah, I guess now he moved back to his dad's house, and I guess he's now got a job. I don't really know anything about his life, but I hope he has learned his lesson, because I sure did enjoy doing all of this. My ex cheated on me and left me for another girl, so this is what I did to his mom. So my boyfriend broke up with me out of nowhere. We had been dating for 2 years, and out of nowhere he breaks up with me and he tells me he's in love with someone else and that he had been cheating on me for 2 months, but he fell in love with her. He said he wanted to spice up his life, so he decided to have a work affair, and it just started off as that. They were supposedly friends with benefits. He fell in love with her. I'm gonna break up with you because I'm in love with someone else. The only problem was our dog. I did not accept any sort of negotiation for this. The only problem was his mom. His mother is like the worst mother-in-law you could ever imagine of. She never liked me, ever. She was really happy about this breakup, you could tell. Like, she was so excited. She wanted to make my life harder. After all this time, she could finally be mean to me, because I wasn't with her son anymore. So she was like, no, it's not fair that you keep the dog because he's been taking care of the dog for 2 years too. So it's not fair. At this point, I just realized she's starting to fight, and I just stopped replying to her. I left the house. I just wanted nothing to do with him or that family. Okay, I'm gonna leave. It's no problem. You can keep the house. I'll go. The last straw, and this is why I needed to do something to this horrible woman, was when I went to pick up the last few things that I had at the house, and she was there. He wasn't there because he didn't want to see me, apparently, because I was so horrible to him. She was there. She wanted to fight me. She wanted to call me names. She was starting to harass me. She held in a lot of things for 2 years, and she was just going at me. I think she even prepared to be at the house specifically when I went to pick up my stuff. I decided, hey, your son is a cheater, so it probably means like father, like son. Let's see if like son, like father. I decided I was going to create a fake Snapchat profile and added his dad to it. For about 2 days, I have been exchanging snaps with his father, her husband, and today I sent all of the screenshots to her. Sent them from a fake account. Like I said, I just didn't want to talk to them. Now she knows what I felt. She even told me I deserved to get cheated on. So yeah, this makes me feel really good. So now I guess she probably also deserved to be cheated on. I don't know. My boyfriend cheated on me, so I got with his best friend. I've known my boyfriend since we were 5 years old. Granted, we didn't start dating when we were 5 years old, but we were childhood friends, basically. Now, fast forward, we're 22, and we've been dating since we were 18. He broke up with me. It was horrible. He broke up with me, like, back in May, out of nowhere, and it was awful. It was awful. I don't think I've ever been that low in my life, but he broke up with me. I tried not to. Like, I did everything. I was like, why are you doing this to me? But he wanted to break up. Both of our families were so weirded out because it was out of nowhere, and it was
just, they saw how I was. Even his family, whom I consider my family too, they were also confused. When the girls say they come back, they always come back, they do. They do. When they don't see that they can find another person like you, they come back. That's what happened. This was in May, and then fast forward to September, he comes back. He came back, he came clean about the fact that he had left me in May for another girl. Because also another thing, when a guy, I've always heard this and it's true, when a guy breaks up with you, he has someone else. Guys don't break up. Guys don't break up. Guys stay with someone even if they hate them, because they're just waiting to be with someone else. And that's super sad, but that's the reality. So he came clean in September. He came back and he said, I obviously didn't welcome him, right? He came clean. He was like, oh, she was the one who seduced me. A customer, he works at a sales company, and he was like, oh, she pursued me really hard. She manipulated me into liking her, and she really wanted me to break up with you, to be with her, blah, blah, blah. I think, okay, what do? I tell him, I'm gonna think. I tell him, I'm gonna think and then I'll answer you. And I wanted revenge. I wasn't gonna take him back for us to be a couple again. No, there was no way. Someone that I had met when I was 5 years old, that was my best friend ever since we were 5 years old, leaves me for another girl. Then he comes back because it didn't work out with that random girl. And I'm supposed to, what, want to be in a relationship with you? No, I'm actually gonna ruin you. So I decided to do something that hurts boys like no other. What is worse than being cheated and discarded by? Being cheated on with your best friend. So I made it my life's goal to get with his best friend. And you know, men are weak. I knew I could do it if I tried. So I thought, okay, let's explore this idea, because this would ruin him. This would actually ruin him. So that's what I did. My boyfriend cheated on me, so I got with his best friend. So basically, the biggest revenge is to get with their best friend, because not only do they lose you, they also lose their best friend. And from September till now, my goal was to be as flirty as I could incrementally. I didn't want to be like too explicit. I had to be smart about this because I wanted to make a good job at this. I would promote a lot of hangouts with friends, so like where his best friend could be involved. I was very subtle because I didn't want his best friend to figure out what I was trying to do. Neither did I want my boyfriend. Subtly, I would look at him more. I would be more flirty. Girls know what I'm talking about. So there's this one day I told my boyfriend to invite him, his best friend, for dinner at our house. He obviously accepts because he loves him so much. So he gets to our house and I'm cooking, and I already have this planned out. So because I want to be left alone with his best friend to try and do something with him. I'm cooking dinner and I call my boyfriend and I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, I forgot to buy wine. Could you please go and pick up some wine? Because they were drinking beer. And I made it a point because I wanted them to be drinking. So I basically left them for 1 hour before I asked my boyfriend to go get some wine for me. So I knew that his best friend being there alone, he would be tipsy, and that was the whole point. I go in the living room and he's there sitting down and he's, like I said, a little bit tipsy, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is gotta be the best case scenario ever. I want my boyfriend to catch us making out. After my boyfriend and I got back together, I told him, well, I want to have your location. So we had each other's locations. So I knew exactly when he was going to come home. I knew when he left the store so that he could, like I said, catch us making out. The store is about 10 minutes away from our house, and I see that he's about to leave the store. So I go and I sit next to my boyfriend's best friend. Guys, they're weak. Especially when they're a little bit tipsy. He folded. And we start making out. And I turn the TV so loud so that his best friend doesn't hear when my boyfriend walks in the door. And then I'm just waiting for that door to open, man. So yes, he walks in and we're both making out, and he immediately jumps and punches his best friend. Kicks him out, and it's just the two of us. And I tell him, well, it is what it is. This is it, I guess. That's how we break up. He's not my boyfriend anymore. I keep calling him boyfriend, but he's not my boyfriend anymore, obviously, after all of this.
And yeah, I think the best revenge is to get with their best friend, because not only do they get cheated on, they also lose their best friend. So my advice, get with their best friend. I cheated on my boyfriend, and this is how he found out. This didn't start out of nowhere. I mean, I was always pretty chill, was never really a jealous girlfriend, but I found out he was cheating on me, and I did forgive him. But after that, our relationship was never the same, because I couldn't trust him again, so that led to us, in the past year of the relationship, just constantly fighting, and it's been difficult. And I feel like once you get cheated on, you can forgive, but you always do resent. So there was a point where the fighting got too bad and we ended the relationship. This was back in May, and I went immediately back on dating apps. I did go on a few dates, but I was still pretty heartbroken, so it was just kind of like a rebound thing. I was just trying to get over the whole situation, but my boyfriend's very persistent, so after about a month he comes back and we get back together until now. It's funny because he's always said cheating is the one deal breaker for me. Like, he's always said this. Even when I found out that he was cheating on me, he's like, I don't blame you for not forgiving me, because I would never forgive you if you cheated on me, but I really want you to forgive on me. Like, we get back together and the relationship is better. He's like trying really hard because he knows like I just can't trust him. Like, here and there I would go on the app. Like, I'm just gonna be for real. Like, I would go on the app. I never actually cheated on him, but I was on a dating app, and I think that's cheating. I would consider that cheating the other way around, so yes. So how did he find out? He was really sneaky. I don't know if he was noticing that I was more distant, but here's the thing, when your girl stops acting crazy, something is up. As soon as we don't act crazy anymore, that's because we don't care. Like I said, after I found out that he had cheated on me, I obviously became like super jealous and super controlling. Like, I didn't trust him or anything. I would make a big deal out of everything. So now he's like, what is going on? She's really different, because I just didn't care. So he got suspicious and he decided, okay, I'm gonna do a girly thing and I'm gonna check her phone. I was really tired and I was about to go to sleep, and he's like, oh, I'm not really tired. Can I play a game on your phone? And I'm like, play a game on your phone? What do you need my phone for? And he's like, oh, but my phone is about to die and I don't want to. And I was like, okay, whatever. I also had the apps in a hidden folder, and to be honest, I don't know if it was because I deep down kind of didn't care if he found out about it, but honestly, I just thought he's not gonna check. That's such like a girly thing. So at about 2:30 a.m. I get woken up by punches on the wall. And I'm like, am I dreaming? What is this? Is this a nightmare? What happened? And he's like, he obviously said it in a very aggressive way. And he was like, I found all of your dating apps in your hidden folder that you have on your phone. I got you. And then he was just like going at it at the door. I mean, kind of scary, because you could tell like when a guy does this, it's like he probably wanted to do that to me, but he couldn't. Honestly, now he's just going through what I went through. Kind of don't feel bad, to be honest. I mean, I know cheating is always wrong. I did have some flirty texts with a few guys, so that's why he got pissed too, right? I mean, I don't feel bad. Yeah, we're together, but after what he did to me, after what I've been through, I don't care. A cheater deserves to be cheated on. If you disagree with me, I don't care. I'm dating my ex's dad, and now he's my stepson. My boyfriend and I met when we were 17, and we're now 22, and I used to spend a lot of time at his house. He's lived alone with his dad for as long as I've known him. I just want to make it clear that I never noticed any weird vibes when I was 17 when I met him. This only started when I was around like 20. His dad is 37, by the way, and I progressively started to stay at his house a little bit longer because I was having issues in my house. And I mean, his dad is pretty good looking. I don't know, I can't explain. I just started feeling more. I was having some issues at home, and my boyfriend was like 2 years ago, my boyfriend was like, well, I'm just gonna ask my dad, and I'm sure you can stay with us for as long as you need to. That's exactly what he did. So I was at home a lot, and my boyfriend wasn't, because he was in med school. He is in med school, and so he's like in college a lot. And so inevitably, I would spend a lot of time at home with his father, who worked from home. I mean, all of a sudden I just started, and then, he also started to feel like a little bit of a sexual tension when we were both alone at the house. And there was this one day where neither him and I could resist. I do have a heart. I felt super guilty, but it's just that I just was genuinely falling in love with him. It wasn't just the sexual part. It was just I was falling in love with him. Maybe it was because he was like at home all day with me and he was helping me a lot. I don't know, but I did fall in love with him. So I kept on living at their place, and this kept going for about a year. His dad and I, we were both in love with each other, but we just didn't know how to go about the subject because it's his dad. So I couldn't just like say, oh, I'm in love with someone else. It's like, no, it's his dad and he lives with his dad. It was just a complicated situation, but then what happened afterwards made it much easier. About a year of this happening, I find out that, luckily, that my boyfriend was cheating on me too with his ex. I'm not gonna lie, I was super happy because I was like, I can finally fully date his dad. I pretended I was super sad because I was like, okay, I can't just like all of a sudden be like, oh yes, I'm also cheating on you with your dad. I told him we're obviously breaking up. I don't forgive you, but can I still stay at your house because I don't have anywhere to go? And he said yes. And obviously because like there was a lot of, we had known each other for so long, he wanted to help me, he felt guilty, whatever. And the thing about it was that he was feeling really guilty. After about a month, his dad and I, we talked to each other and we're like, okay, let's give it a month. Let's wait a month to tell him that we're together. And yeah, now he's my stepson because we're in a committed relationship. I live with them and it's a weird situation, but it is what it is. My boyfriend was cheating on me with my older sister for 6 months, and this is how I found out. So my ex and I met each other 3 years ago, and we've been basically dating ever since we knew each other. We started dating right away, and it is a red flag. And if a guy is with you and after 3 dates he asks you to be his girlfriend, run. That's a red flag. That's not possible. Like when you fall in love, you don't fall in love after 3 dates. I've always thought this, oh my gosh, like he's fallen in love with me so fast, but no, it was not love. He was just desperate to have a girlfriend apparently. I mean, our relationship moved pretty fast, and I introduced him to my family also right when he asked me to be his girlfriend. I have a big sister and she's only 1 year older than me, and we actually look very much alike. I think she's always had this competitiveness to me because I was the younger kid and she was always very jealous of my parents and the attention that they gave me. But when we grew up, we actually became very close and I was her best friend. I mean, up until I knew about what happened. Now, I would never in a million years expected that this could ever happen. So I introduced them both, like I had introduced my other boyfriends to her, and they immediately clicked. And I was so happy about it because I was like, great, everybody wants their boyfriends to get along with someone who's very close to them, and my sister was my best friend, so I was super excited about that, especially because my sister usually hates everybody, so I was like, great. It started getting weird because my sister would make jokes about how crazy would it be if me and your boyfriend would get together, like that would be so crazy, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, but I didn't think anything of it. Also, he used to laugh at those jokes all the time. And now looking back, how stupid could I have been? I mean, it never crossed my mind that the two people that I was the closest to, the two people that I loved the most, would ever do something like that to me, because that's actually evil. Cheating already is pretty traumatizing, but I think just losing two people like this is just heartbreaking. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to do a part 2 telling you how I found out that I was being cheated on for 6 months. My sister was having with my boyfriend. I'm gonna tell you in the next part. My boyfriend was cheating on me with my older sister for 6 months, and this is how I found out. So like I said, they were always joking, mainly my sister. She was always joking, how crazy would it be if me and your boyfriend would get together, and I was like, it wouldn't be crazy, it would be awful. Also, like, my sister thinks she's funny. She's always thought that about herself. She's like, oh, I'm the funniest person. I'm like, the funniest person wouldn't say that they're the funniest, but go off. This all happened like last week. I found this out last week, but I had been noticing that my boyfriend was getting like progressively distant. He
never wanted to have. And that was really weird because he always wanted that. So I was like, there's something weird. And I think that's a warning sign if your boyfriend is very into, if he's like that and then all of a sudden he's not, red flag. Same way that my boyfriend was distancing himself from me, my sister also was. I even commented about it with my best friend. I was like, isn't it weird that it's happening with both at the same time? My best friend suggested, let's follow James, because James told me, oh, I'm gonna go play soccer with my friends. And I was like, you used to play football every Friday and it was a Thursday. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, today is Thursday, it's not Friday. And he's like, oh yeah, but they want to play today too. And I'm like, okay, weird. So this is a perfect time to follow him. So my best friend and I decided to go and wait for my boyfriend at the end of his shift. And to my surprise, he doesn't drive to go play soccer with his friends. He drives to our favorite restaurant. He pulls up at McDonald's, our favorite restaurant. No, I'm kidding. I wish it was, actually. That would be much better than to know he took her to our favorite restaurant. When we get there, I see my sister. And I was like, what a coincidence. But no, it wasn't a coincidence. They were gonna meet each other and have dinner with each other. When I saw that the way in which they said hi to each other was with a kiss, I got out of the car immediately and I just ran towards them. I didn't know who to slap first. I was crying, but I was screaming at the same time. They weren't apologetic. That's the worst part. They weren't apologetic. They both were just worried that I would make a scene. They weren't worried about how I was feeling or anything. They were just worried about the fact that I was screaming. It's like, how'd you not want me to scream? How can I possibly not be screaming? And yesterday they went Instagram official. This happened last week and they blocked me everywhere. And yesterday my best friend saw that they had gone Instagram official. So my worst nightmare is happening. I think I'm gonna actually get with her dad, so stay tuned for the next episode. My ex cheated on me with his ex, so I made him believe that I was unalive. So about 6 months ago, my ex left me for, let's take a guess, his ex-girlfriend. Now mind you, this is the ex that he would always talk trash about every time he could. You should always be wary of if your boyfriend talks trash about his exes, because I think that that's the biggest warning sign. If they're still talking about them, they still have feelings for them. Just the way in which he broke up with me to get to his ex is evil. He just blocked me out of nowhere. Now, I knew he would come back because they always do. I didn't try to get in contact with him or anything because I was accepting it. Oh, by the way, I found out he was with his ex because a friend of mine told me, because I asked her to check his Instagram for me. But yeah, found that out and didn't say anything, and I was really depressed. But I waited because I knew he was gonna come back, and he does. And I knew exactly what I was gonna do when he were to come back. He unblocks me, finally. After 6 months, he finally does. Now my revenge was, I'm going to make him feel the guiltiest he can ever possibly feel. So I'm gonna pretend I am unalive. He sends me an apology text and I reply to him pretending I'm my sister, telling him, well, me, is unalive. He calls immediately and I tell him as my sister, can't pick up, don't want to talk to you. You were part of the reason why this happened, so yeah. Told him, well, I'm going to send you a box with your stuff that you left with her. I had a box with his stuff that I had never had the opportunity to give back to him, so my sister was telling him that she was gonna mail them to his house, and in that box was a goodbye letter from me. If he does find out that I'm alive through this video, hi, how are you? I hate you. My boyfriend of 8 years has been cheating on me, and this is how I found out. I found this out in the most random way ever. My boyfriend and I, we've been in a relationship for 8 years and he's pretty successful at his job and he does a lot of work trips. Always trusted him. I'm not a very jealous person. I'm not very controlling and I've never been that type of person. I'm in a relationship and I have to be a private investigator, then that's not gonna happen. So I've always been pretty chill. I've never been very controlling and I just let him be. For 8 years, I've always trusted that these work trips are actually work trips. I know some of his co-workers, and the truth is that now after seeing all this,
Now I'm kind of thinking about the fact that he's never really talked that much about this one coworker. He's always sort of mentioned this woman, but not actually going into too much detail about her. In fact, he was always talking trash about this one coworker, and she's married. So to my surprise, she's his mistress. He sent me a screenshot of some Amazon purchases that I had asked him to get, and to my surprise, on the bottom he didn't notice, but it was her name and her address. And like I said, I was never very controlling, and he knew this. So I had never checked anything. I mean, as soon as I see this, I'm like, I have to check his emails and search history for the first time. Apparently, he completely trusted that I was never going to snoop in on anything because, like I said, for about 8 years, I didn't. So he just left all the evidence there. How dumb can you be? This was heartbreaking because I found out that a lot of these work trips he was going on were to actually very luxurious places. Like this current one is in a spa resort. They had arranged couples cooking lessons. Like, it's one thing to get cheated on because, you know, if it's sexual, just sexual, but it's another thing. It's completely different when it's like an emotional affair. Like, I just saw everything. I saw that he had purchased, like, all of his emails had like receipts for purchases that he made to her because I didn't get any of those gifts, like lingerie. He even had Venmo'd her a lot of money. I mean, after seeing this and feeling so stupid because I was like, how could I be so dumb? How could I be so dumb for 8 years? I should have digged. I shouldn't have been this naive. I had to come up with a plan. How was I going to get revenge? So I decided to fake everything. As soon as he came back from this work trip, I acted as if everything was normal. Actually, even more loving because I was embodied like the perfect girlfriend. I knew he was going to go on another trip. Like, as soon as he came, like 2 days later, he had to go on another trip. I'm actually gonna make another part because this is going to be too long. I need to tell you what my revenge was because I'm very proud of it. My boyfriend of 8 years has been cheating on me, and this is how I found out. Putting on the performance of my lifetime, I'm acting super loving, and so it's time that he leaves for another work trip. I was gathering all the information because apparently this was lasting for about a year, so I had a lot of things that I could collect, and I just wanted to make a PDF document with everything, with every single proof, with every receipt of any purchase that he made to her, with every single trip, everything. Also, I'm the one who's always packed his suitcases like the perfect girlfriend I was. And so what I did was I printed this PDF document and I taped it on the inside of his suitcase so that when he would open it when he got there, they would both see it. He loves clothes. He loves to buy stuff. He loves everything. So what I thought was, okay, if he just loves his stuff so much, I'm also going to put on that 10-page letter that the only things he's going to own after that trip are the things that are in his actual suitcase. Like, he has so many things with so many things. I didn't put them in the trash. I actually kept them, but that was actually really nice because I packed one of his Rolexes in the suitcase. So also in that letter I told him that when he came back I was going to be out of the house, that he didn't have to worry about anything, and that he could actually move in with her now since he loves her so much. I mean, it's unfortunate I was with him for 8 years and I'm back to my parents' house because I could have told him that he was the one that needed to move out, but honestly, I'm out. I think not everything is bad because, like I said, he had a great job and he had a lot of stuff and a lot of expensive stuff. I knew that me keeping his stuff, he could obviously, you know, accuse me of robbing his stuff. But the thing was, I was blackmailing him. I told him, if you decide to do anything to me, if you accuse me of robbing your stuff, then I'm just gonna tell everybody. Because he cares a lot, especially at his job. Like, he has a very high position and she's married. So she will freak out if she thinks there's a possibility of it being found out. Especially, like I said, they work together. It would definitely harm him in front of everybody at the company. Basically, this is what happened. I moved out of the house and I don't know what he's doing. I don't care what he's doing. I have his stuff, actually thousands of dollars worth of stuff, so I don't leave empty-handed. I was thinking about telling her husband because wouldn't it be hilarious if now I actually got with him? I think that's my next plan.